Okay, so I'm here to have a heart-to-heart with you. If you're a new computer science major, just starting your CS journey, or you're a current major, this video is for you. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm gonna get straight to the point. These are 13 tips that you need to know as a computer science major. Tip number 1, your approach to learning is everything. What I mean by that is your teachers don't teach you. You instead are discovering the material for yourself for the first time. When we approach a new topic, a new equation, a new concept, you want to approach it as if you're discovering it for the first time, because that is the only way to truly grasp the underlying principle. For me, personally, I like to visualize the concept. For example, we had to create our own copy constructors for a C++ data type. It was probably the hardest problem I've gotten up to that point, but I understood that if I really wanted to learn it, if I really wanted to solve this problem myself, I'm going to have to discover the solution as if I'm the one creating it. Even though it's been solved before, there are textbooks on it, there are answers, you got the chat GPTs on it. I wanted to learn it by myself and see if I could come up with the answer, if I could discover the answer myself. So what I did was I got, a piece of paper, a pen and piece of paper, and I drew every little thing about this copy constructor. The linked list, I got the arrows, I got the pointers, and it's a drawn out process, but it's what you need to do to truly understand the material and to be able to gain the skills needed to solve future problems. Tip number 2. This may sound redundant, but take notes of everything. And I mean everything. I have 2 apps that I take notes with. One is called RemNote, the second is called GoodNotes. What I usually do is if I have something very math heavy and I can't type it too well during class, if I'm in class, I draw it out on GoodNotes to capture what I've learned during that class. And then at the end of class, I want to put it in all the notes into a centralized area. And that's what I use something called RedNote for. It's really good for computer science notes and math notes. It has LaTeX integration. It's a very sleek design, but that's pretty much what I do. So first I gather all the notes during lecture, and then the way to retain them is to put it in all one centralized document that I can refer to later. Okay, tip number 3, do not underestimate mathematics. I will make a video on this a little later, but for some reason, I see computer scientists not value mathematics as they really should. Computer science is, let me put it this way. What are you coding? What are you using your computer science for? You can't do computer science just for the sake of computer science. The entire world around us, the universe, is represented through math. Whether that's through the polar vortexes, whether that's through 2D and 3D space, whether that's through motion path planning, whether that's through machine learning, neural networks. That all has to do with math. To really be valuable as a computer scientist in this industry, you need to know some math. Take your math classes. Don't just stop at Calc 1, do Calc 2. Take your discrete, take your linear algebra. Do what you need to do in order to be a valuable member of this computer science community. And that kind of brings me into the next point. There's more to computer science than LeetCode. For some reason, I see all these videos and everybody talking about how much LeetCode they're doing, how much they're focusing on algorithm. And instead, I challenge you to think of what you're interested outside of comp sci. Chances are that you could pair comp sci with what you're interested in. For example, I'm really interested in outer space. So I might apply to internships involving that, like a NASA internship. The internship is not focused around algorithms and software. Instead, it involves telescopes. It involves polar vortexes. It involves wind. It involves stars. But I could use my computer science skills to kind of explore that avenue. Computer science itself is not a career on its own. You need to pair it with something. You need to be interested in something else. That's why LeetCode problems won't get you that far. You're gonna have to do some digging to see what you're truly interested in and to see if your computer science knowledge can be applied to these different things. Tip number 5, at the undergraduate level, the courses that you take are not as important as you think they are. Yes, get your foundational courses. You need to do the algorithms, you need to do the systems, You need to do the data structures, but just don't get so caught up in electives. If you have that machine learning class that you can't get in unless you drop, your other math course or your literature course that you need to take in order to fill some requirement, don't stress about it. The real learning comes from outside of class. It's what you do outside of class that determines where you are going to go in the field in the future. These electives are only surface level anyways. You're not going to get into a machine learning career just because you took intro to machine learning in college. So don't trip up about the electives. Don't trip up about the courses you take. If you don't get the course that you want, it's not the end of your life. At the end of the day, it's what you do outside of the classroom that really matters. And that leads perfectly into my 6th tip. Tip number 6, avoid the boring, unpaid internships. There are loads of internships that are unpaid. Quite honestly, I think it's probably one of the more stupid things you could do. You should not be broke from attending an internship. As STEM majors, we value our time, and that means getting compensated with a good amount of money and a valuable experience. There are paid opportunities out there for research and for internship. There's a difference between the two. I'll get into that later in another video. But right now, what you need to know is there are 2 main opportunities for your learning outside of the classroom. Number 1 are internships. The second one is academic research, where you actually work with the school and you get a stipend from that school, untaxable, by the way. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is these are the opportunities to really gauge what you want to do for the rest of your life. This is when you really do the learning. So when you waste your time with these unpaid internships or these boring internships, you're just wasting your time. You're really not getting anything out of that other than a little note on your resume. Remember when we were talking about approaching the material as discovery? You have to really dig deep and think, what are you discovering? You know deep down when you're applying to one, whether or not it's going to provide you with a valuable experience, with a new knowledge that you could take home and apply to other areas in your life and in STEM. And B, whether you're wasting your time and not doing what you want to do, but what you feel like you should do or what you feel like other people think you should do. You have the world at your fingertips. After this video, I'm going to give you some homework. Look up NSF REU on Google. You're going to find a link. You're going to go to for students. You're going to pick your major. And there are literally hundreds of paid opportunities that you could apply for. You could I mass applied for them last year. And I got accepted into one. And it was the most valuable experience in my undergraduate college career. I've taken all these classes, I've done the APs, but they didn't nearly teach as much as that did. Plus, it was paid. I got about $7,200 from it. It's worth it. When doing an interesting internship opportunity or you're doing research, you're actually pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. And when you push the boundaries of human knowledge, that's actually you leading the way for the industry to go, for humanity to go. You could find anything in research. You could find anything in these internships. If you like space, apply to NASA. If you like underwater robots, I did that last summer. If you like self-driving cars, they've got that for you. If you find yourself in a position where you didn't get the interview or you didn't get accepted to NASA or you didn't get accepted to the school that you applied to do research for, that's okay. Make your own project. Do what you're interested in. Make a passion project. Make your app. If you're into machine learning, get a robot, see if it can follow a line. This is the time to really try to spread your wings and do more than what's outside the classroom. Do more than what's expected of you. Do what you want to do. This is the time. And to go with that, my 7th tip is don't underestimate your value to a project. There are some projects where you're gonna think, wow, I'm really unqualified. But you don't know if you don't apply. In the winter of my freshman year of college, I applied to 7 research opportunities. I got to interview for one, and I got accepted into another. But I felt extremely underqualified. I've only taken 1 to 2 semesters of courses. I haven't even finished Calc 1. Right? I didn't even take the algorithms course yet. I didn't know Python. I knew Java and C++. Surface level. But I applied, and I got accepted. And for some of the research opportunities, for some of the internships, your employer might be actually looking for underqualified applicants. Some actually, if they see that a student is too overqualified, they reject them immediately. And they take the underrepresented students with little to no experience. And they take them in and they teach them what research is about. They teach them what the industry is about. They teach them what to learn, and they let you loose. And under the guidance of your mentor, you get to work independently, learning what you want to learn, making a project that is yours, and coming out of that with $5,000 and a very valuable learning experience. This is good stuff. Don't wait. It's never too early to apply. I can promise you this, if you apply and you get it, it will change your life. So tip number 8, especially if you're doing research in your undergrad career, maybe graduate school is something you could think about. And it's a common misconception that graduate school will, put you under. It's completely untrue. Most good programs will pay for your graduate program. There are ways to do this. You could teach classes. You could join a research lab. You could get a scholarship. There are ways to do this. They'll pay your housing, they'll pay your food, but they want you just as much as you want them. So tip number 9, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Computer science is not for everybody. If you're only in computer science for the money incentive, and if you find that you don't really enjoy the subject, really try to dig deep and try to decide if this is the path you really want to go down. Okay, so tip number 10 is get a mentor. You need to build those relationships, because at the end of the day, those professors are the ones that are signing that acceptance letter to grad school, or writing that check, or giving you really good guidance on what to do in the forever evolving technology world. Go to office hours, stay after class. You don't even have to go to office hours for a problem. Go to office hours just to chat. Let them know you. They can't write you a recommendation letter if they don't know you. And of course, that brings me into the next tip is don't underestimate the value of a good recommendation letter. When you're submitting your resume to a job, when you're trying to get into a research program that you love, the most important supplement to that application are the recommendation letters. Now, I'm not just making that up. I've talked to people in the field. I've talked to my professors. I've talked to my mentor. Tip number 12, live life. Stop stressing so much. If you need to, click off the video, because computer science should not take 100% of your life. It was a hobby in high school. Now it's your job. So now you need to find a new hobby, right? Spread your wings, paint, go on a run, make crappy YouTube videos that no one will watch, make music, learn how to cut hair, cut down a tree, I don't care. Find something, hang out with your friends. If you're staying up till 8, 10 p.m. on a Friday night, doing your passion project, fine. But once in a while, go out with your friends. You have to live a balanced life. Nothing in here. That'll also help you in your studies. Because when you have a fresh mind, it just makes everything so much better. And my last and final tip sounds a bit cheesy, but take responsibility. Essentially, you are one of the leaders in the world. If you have been living under a rock, then I'll tell you now, tech is where the world is going. You have an obligation to protect it. A lot of damage can be done out of this. And that's it. That's the end of the video. That's all my tips I got. And I just want to say good luck. You could do this, but you have to be smart. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please give a like, please subscribe, please give a comment. It really helps this video reach more people. Now hopefully, step by step, we could do some good in this world. All right, take care.